thought I could start. So as I say this, you may continue eating. Um, even as you go quiet, please, chewing and the sound of forks and knives is allowed. Meanwhile, we can have table 2, join the queue. Table 2. Where is table 2? Oh, okay, yes, it's your turn. So recently, so currently, because I'm an alumnus, I am part of the Thursday group. So the Thursday group meets every Thursday in the evenings. And so I'll just share something that I was sharing with them the last time I was there, which was 2 weeks ago. So I was coming from Valley Road. If you guys know that turn, there's that turn as if you're coming from Nairobi Hospital, joining Ngong Road. I didn't know that you couldn't make a left turn coming from that side to go as if you're going to Kenyatta. So I made the turn innocently. I remember as I was negotiating that corner, I thought, weird corner. Because it seems like it's forcing me to go on the right, but I didn't think much of it, so I just went left. Only to get to the roundabout and have a cop on my side on a motorbike tap the window and sorry, just a minute. Table 6, lucky table 6. You may serve the food. So back to the story. So I had a cop stop me, and he asked me to park somewhere there. And of course, at that point, I wasn't scared. I hadn't done anything wrong, as far as I knew. I was okay. So, but hey, in Kenya, whoever wants to interact with cops? So I parked. As I was going to park, I was nervous. Somehow I just started freaking out because I do not like interacting with cops. And I prayed, asking God to help me because I don't know what mess I'm in, but whatever it is I've gotten myself into, I needed him to help me out of it. And interestingly, that period had a backdrop because of the song I was listening to in the car, which I've just told the DJ, David, Lord be my defense, so I can face my giants with confidence. Thank you, DJ. So that was the song that was playing in the car, as I remember, a song about praying for confidence. And so as I stopped, yes, I was sure that I had the confidence that I needed to face this giant, AKA a policeman. And yeah, he explained to me that I had actually made a wrong turn. Of course, I was shocked because I didn't know I had done anything wrong. And yes, the procedure, checked the license, but he insisted we were going to drive to Nairobi area police station. And at that point, I was actually rushing to a very important meeting. And from the look of traffic, I would have been late. Now add on to going to a police station, things like bail. I was not ready for that, and I was just scared. And so, kawaida, I was not expecting it. But yeah, I actually went and got onto his motorbike. That's when I pleaded with him, and he got off, and he came back, and he said then, if he were to let me go, I needed to buy him lunch. And so he was on the co-driver's side. My handbag was just there. It was just there. And to think of all the troubles I would be avoiding by just reaching into my handbag, at that moment, it actually looked like the only way, not the best way, it looked like the only way out of that mess. And to think that in my purse, I had 200 shillings, notwithstanding the fact that it was the only money I had in my purse. I was ready to give that 200 shillings. And as I was almost moving my hand to get that cash, and I would have gotten out of that problem, I had a voice in my head saying, and literally, this is God, and he talks to us in different ways, but that day I had God ask me, Una do? Like, what are you doing? And it hit me. I had just been listening to that song, give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den, give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. And I have prayed for that confidence. So, well, if it means God has given me the confidence to go to the police station and probably actually even get into a cell, then so be it. But then there was also something else striking about that. Yes. Table number 12, your time for food. Yeah, back to the story. So at that moment, something else that came to mind that actually held me from pushing my hand into the handbag. Because I remembered the numerous times we had shared in the Aylf small groups about our, not just faith, but our small duty to God and to our country. And one person in particular came to mind in that at that moment, and that was Alan Mwangi. Alan Mwangi once asked a police officer who asked him for a bribe. And then, niambie nini Yesu? Imagine talking to a police officer asking you for a bribe, and you ask him, and the first thing you ask him is what you will tell Jesus. So, the interesting bit is that the cop got fed up with me telling him that I can't. And just when I was so sure we were going to the police station, he actually got angry and told me to leave his site. And that is how I got off. But just thinking about that scenario, and of course I was happy. And interestingly, I had another backdrop in the music. Table number 10, you may join the queue. And interestingly, at that moment, as I was let go and I was sweating, there was another song playing in the car. You move mountains, because walls still fall with your power. Thank you. So, basically, that was just a small experience that I had like 2 weeks ago. But it just kind of reminds us of why we are here in Aylf. Like for me, what I see is, as much as I am a Christian, you need spaces to remind you how to practice your faith. You need people to hold you accountable. Because then that was a story that I came to share in the group happily. And if it had gone the other way around, I would have come to the group and shared of how I had let down Aylf, how I had let down my friends, and how I had let down my God. And it's not just me, but we have other alumni who can also, so that is just an example, but we have many other examples and in many other ways where we have seen ourselves refrain from doing things because of what we are learning and have learned, or doing things, just taking a stand that we would otherwise not have taken. So at this moment, I'll just ask maybe one more person to come and share with us, in brief, a little impact that Aylf has had on them. Sada, Miss Sada Hassan. As she comes, Sada is... Yes, as Sada comes, you can have table 14 join the queue. Sada is a poet, a spoken word. Oh, by the way, we might need one. A spoken word artist. Anything else before we get to the main thing? And she's a journalist with KTN. No, okay, you might share with us the latest features you've done, but yeah, a little story from Sada, sharing. Not really a story. In Swahili.
Good evening, everyone. Hamjambo tena. So I'm really privileged to stand in front of all of you tonight. It's such an honor being back here with all the familiar faces and all the new faces. Tonight I have been chosen by Ivy to just give reflections of why Aylf is important for me and maybe how it has impacted in my life. So basically, right now I am a journalist working with Standard Group as a health and science reporter. But beyond that, I get to oversee a lot of things, both in the media space and also among youth. And one of the biggest things as a journalist is you get to meet with a lot of influential people in the society. And you also get to do a lot of stories that put you in places that you don't want to be sometimes, because maybe they rub other people wrongly, or you see these people that you rub off wrongly, they come back to you trying to give you bribes, trying to make the story go away. So these are some of the things that we encounter as journalists, and also along our way our faith is tested in a very big way, a very big space. And through the virtues that we've learned from Aylf, you're able to hold your position if you really know what Aylf stands for and what it means. But for me, the biggest lesson, or the most challenging moment in my life was when I was a small group coordinator back at Multimedia University. And at that time, I was also vying for a leadership position in the university. In order for you to win, I'm sure all of you know how campus politics are. You need to bribe, you need to pay, you need to buy everyone so that you can win all the votes. So for me, that was quite challenging and different. And at the end of the day, my partner and I got only one vote because we didn't buy anyone, we didn't pay anyone. But for me, it was a really good and important lesson, because those are some of the virtues that stand with you in such trying times and testing times. And at the end of the day, you're able to reflect. If I had paid off these guys to get this position, then where would I be today? So I'm really privileged to stand in front of all of you, and I hope to interact with all of you along the way. But for me, Aylf is a big, big family, and I take lessons with me every day as I walk. Thank you so much. Ivy?
Maybe for those whose hands are free, we could do one clap for Sada. Thank you. We'll move on to the next, now to the third part of the program, which we're just going to have a few more recognitions now by Gabriel. And we are going to have a mention of another program, another Aylf program, which, and we learn about the people who've gone through it and a little more information on it. Meanwhile, there was someone I wanted to recognize, but I think they're having dinner, so we'll do that in a bit. Gabriel?
Thank you, Ivy. Thank you so much. In the interest of time, we just want to keep this running. And thank you, guys. I've seen a few more people have come in. Thank you, Mr. Mugo, always there. We really appreciate for your presence, always with us, walking the journey with us. Thank you so much. And I know we have some of our alumni guys who just came in. There was an alumni member who I really wanted to recognize, but she had to go. The husband just came to pick her. She's among the oldest, I think she would have been the oldest member of Aylf Kenya in the room, but she had to leave. She's called Zara Rashid. Now, where you're seated, you probably found two things, and I was supposed to talk about this earlier. So there's a booklet. That we have distributed, and this is about the life and the teachings of Jesus. So please feel free to read this. Some people are reading them with their family members, just to give you the story and the life of Jesus. We talk a lot about the teachings of Jesus, and so we have this for you to be able to have a copy of this for yourself, to be able to go through. Also, if you really want to understand what Aylf is all about, this piece of paper carries our philosophy really. This piece of paper, the card that you have with you, that carries what we are all about. So if someone ever asks you what is Aylf all about, this piece of paper is enough to help you appreciate that. Now, my work here is very quick, and I'll do this quickly so that we can move with the other part of this program tonight. We've seen a number of our Aylf alumni, and this coming election actually, we have a number of our alumni who are seeking to vie in various elective posts. And of course, for us right now in Aylf is to figure out how to walk the journey with them, to be of support to them, to encourage them, to mentor them, to guide them, so that they can be able to pursue those posts and hopefully win. We have a few who've won in the last election, and we continue to encourage them and to support them. One of them, who is a deputy governor for Kajiado County, was supposed to be in this dinner, but today he was opening his house, and tomorrow we're going to be spending time with him there tomorrow when we go. So, one of our very important program is University Small Group. And in each of those universities, we have people who coordinate those small groups for us. People who have said, I will volunteer to be an Aylf small group coordinator. And this evening, I just want to recognize them, just a few of them, because one of the challenges we had faced in the past is always a smooth transition from one coordinator to the next. So the ones that I'm going to recognize who are in the room tonight are those who've successfully they've led their group well, and they've transitioned well to hand over the responsibility to the next person by equipping them enough so that the person can take over from them. And so if you are in the room, the people that I'm going to mention your name, I'd just like you to stand up. One of the things we said is we encourage them that if you do a good leadership and hand over very well, we will award you a certificate that demonstrates the excellence work that you've done. So we have Joan Chepkemoi. Is Joan Chepkemoi in the room? John, if you are there, John Chepkemoi, Multimedia University, please just remain standing because I'd like all of you to be standing. Anita Chebet. Anita Chebet is in the room. Is Anita Chebet somewhere? Anita Chebet from TUK, Technical University of Kenya. If Anita is in the room. Okay, we have Moses Maina. Moses Maina, if you're in the room. Is Moses somewhere? Oh, Moses in the end there. I didn't see Anita. Oh, Anita is here. Just be standing where you are. Yeah. Okay. Velma Olunga. Velma Olunga. Where's Velma? Yes, Velma is on the extreme end. And then we have Coletta Mutua. How about you guys just come in front here? I think it's easier. Just come in front here, you guys. Coletta Mutua from Technical University of Mombasa. Velma is from JKUAT. And Moses Maina is from Multimedia. This one's her? Okay, so Coletta, where's Coletta? Coletta is here. Mercy Nyaga, please. Any other coordinator in the room? Any other coordinator in the room that maybe the name has not been mentioned? Mercy Nyaga, if you could come in front. I want us to acknowledge these guys, the effort they do. If you guys could just stand up here. I want us to acknowledge these guys. Any other coordinator who came today? I know some of them came. Mark Mwalimu, please come. Any other coordinator? Yes, please come. Thank you. Any other coordinator in the room? These are the guys who've said they volunteered themselves to make sure that Aylf in campuses is alive, is doing what it's supposed to do, and we try to equip them, we try to build their capacity. So these are our heroes. These are our foot soldiers in campus. These are the guys who say they'll not just be ordinary students in campus, but they'll go out of their way to do something about Aylf in their campus. So please, can we just appreciate them? Can we just appreciate them? Thank you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We honor you so much. Thank you all. If you can just go have your seats. Thank you. Now, if I know that there's a list of those who've handed over well, the ones who are giving certificates tonight. Please, I need that list. If someone is working on it, I need it quickly. As that is coming up, so this year also what we did is thanks to David Hosaga, who most of you might know. David Hosaga has Trusted Leadership Institute, and David Hosaga is committed to raising trusted leaders. So one of the things that uniquely he did for us, he said that he's going to provide this content and this coaching program to Aylf students and Aylf leaders and alumni. And so from last year, we committed ourselves that we are going to have a group of them go through Trust Age. Now, if you are here in this room and you went through the Trust Age program, please just stand where you are. I'll not call you to come in front. Please just stand where you are, because we also want to acknowledge you. So please, if you are here, Ivy, I know you're among them. I don't know why you're still seated. Ivy, anybody in the room? There's Joshua there. Please stand up. There's Chebaibai. There's Philip Kemoy. There's Bill over there. I'm trying to see this. Yes, there's Nancy Baraza over there. Anybody in the room? Anybody in the room who went through the Trust Age program? And if I'm not seeing you, please, if you've gone for dinner the other side, we had quite a number of them. Some of them could not make it tonight. Your certificates are somewhere today. So today, please don't leave this space without your certificates, because you accomplished that program, you finished it well, and David Hosaga himself is so proud of you for guys committing to go through that program. So let's celebrate these guys. Let's celebrate them for commitment to become trusted leaders and going through that program. Thank you, guys. Another set of guys that I want to recognize very fast is a group of guys who this year we've worked with as volunteers for various committees. In Aylf, we work heavily with volunteers. We don't have the capacity to hire everybody and pay everybody. And if we were to pay everybody for all the work we do, it would be a lot of money, which we do not have, because we do a lot of things. But there are people who volunteer and say they are available to always help. So we'll just highlight a few of them. And that is the committee that worked to put together this year annual gathering. And that is the Aylf annual gathering that happened in May. Anybody in that committee? And Philip Kimeo was volunteering to lead the team. Anybody who was in that committee in the room? Yes, this Judy Misati was part of that committee. Anybody else? Quickly, guys, so that we move on this. Anybody in the room that was part of that committee? Omar Maulid. Omar, why are you not? Thank you. You're most welcome. I know I just saw you come in now. Anybody else who was part of that committee? So can we please also appreciate that? Also, we have the SLDP committee. SLDP committee, the SLDP program would not have succeeded if a group of guys did not volunteer themselves to help. Who are they? Where are they? The SLDP committee, kindly, if you are here and you're part of this, Sharon, you're part of that committee? Yes, please. Sharon, why are you not standing up, Sharon? So Sharon, you're part of that committee. Beth was part of that committee. Where's Beth? Where's Beth? Beth, where are you? There's Beryl. Beryl was part of that committee. And we have him, he was leading the committee. So SLDP, so Beryl is somewhere. Where's Beryl? Oh, Beryl is out on the desk. Is there someone else I'm forgetting from the SLDP committee? Sharon, yes, Sharon is over there already. Who else? Okay, thank you guys for the work you do. Let's appreciate them. Let's appreciate those guys who volunteered for the SLDP committee. I am told someone, and I want to acknowledge them. Is there night chemo soap somewhere? Someone has seen night chemo soap somewhere? Night chemo soap. Night chemo soap. I've been told she's around, and I've been told she's a very important piece of this work. Night chemo soap. For those of you who remember Aylf in the earlier days, when we were still trying to figure out things, we worked a lot with volunteers. Night chemo soap at some point gave herself to become part of those volunteers. I was an intern. I was very instrumental in the initial stages of USLA, University Student Leaders Awards, and also the SLDP played a big role. So we celebrate you, Night. Thank you, and good to see you this evening. So the dinner committee, also we have a committee that sat together to make sure this dinner is a success. Some of them are busy somewhere, but we appreciate you, we acknowledge you. I am still waiting for the names of those who has every table eaten? Every table has eaten? Which tables are yet to eat? Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Kindly go ahead and eat if you've not eaten. Just go ahead because time is running, will not be. Okay, so as we transition, there are people who are supposed to be getting their certificates tonight for handing over very well. That list is being worked on. I'll be able to look at that later. But I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys. And at this juncture, if you permit me, I'd like to invite Mr. Cosma. Mr. Cosma has been very helpful and volunteering himself and his time to be part of the Aylf trustees and just help us see how to walk this journey and be able to offer guidance and offer that leadership. So I'd just like to invite him, and he'll go ahead and run the program and be able to do the rest that needs to be done for this evening. But I appreciate you all. Thank you guys for the work you do and for always being there for us. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Mr. Cosma as he comes over. Well, when I knew him, I used to call him Mr. Cosmas, until he told me, no, it's not Cosmas, it is Cosma. So he's called Mr. Cosma Gatere. I still always want to work hard to not call him Cosmas. Mr. Cosma Gatere is the chairman of Aylf Kenya Trust. So welcome, sir, and please, if you can take it away. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jambo. So I will start with a few of the proceedings. We'll go on with the proceedings for this evening. I know there are one or two tables that haven't yet had a bite, but they are in line. But as we eat, we are going to proceed with other matters for this evening. So I'd like to start by just recognizing an important group of people who we have here. We have not only the senior friends who you've been introduced to, and I'll introduce a few others. Gabriel has mentioned our trustees. I'll be introducing those members of the Board of Trustees who are here present. But I'd like to say something about the young people, because you really are our guests of honor today. We truly appreciate the role that you as young people play. All of you who are in different small groups, those of you who are alums, those of you who've been through the SLDP or the other programs and have got your awards here, we do not take it for granted. So when you see some of us senior friends who are going to be introduced here giving our time and our resources and our input, it's because we believe that the future of this country really lies in your hands. And we are going to be dedicating the evening today to the whole question of the futures, alternative futures scenarios of country Kenya. So we are standing now at a crossroads, and Kenya could go in one of several possible directions. So the whole presentation that you'll be hearing today is going to be about which scenario is better and which scenario leads to different outcomes. Some outcomes are positive and some are not. but we'll be discussing those future scenarios. And when you talk about the future, especially the future of a country, it's not about the wazés or the older people such as us. The future really belongs to you people. So the messages that you'll be hearing today, the presentation by the keynote speaker, and even the panel discussion is really a message targeted at you and hoping to engage you in being active in working towards a positive futures scenario. I'd like to also recognize the members of the University Deans Association who are here with us. We know that we have university students. I think the universities are structured in a way that it is actually the deans in the universities who have their finger on the pulse of the university. If you really want to find out about student welfare and find out how students are doing, it's at the dean's office that you stop and talk to the dean. So we have made a very conscious effort as Aylf to engage with deans. I'd like to bring the apologies of the chairman of the University Deans Association, Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi Aden. He sent his apologies and he's unable to make it, but I know he's well represented by other deans. And I'd just like to acknowledge the deans who are here present. Most of them are on the table number 1 here in front of us. So let me just read out your names, and if you could just wave your hand, maybe the cameraman can point at the table here, and then we'll just acknowledge and we'll appreciate you at the end. So I'd like to introduce Faith Musyoka from Pioneer International. If you could just wave your hand. Faith Musyoka, whereabouts? Okay, I know she was here, maybe might have stepped out or might be serving food. Dr. Agnes Macau from Scots, over here. Yes, a round of applause for her, thank you very much. Dr. Kiboi from University of Eldoret, right here. Asante sana, Daktari. Thank you for making it, and thank you for your input and your contribution. Dr. Kiboi is someone who we appreciate very much. I know in the past he has actually dedicated his time. He actually spent a week traveling with Aylf to Uganda and gave a lot of input to our Aylf programs over there. So Daktari, we appreciate very much that investment in time, and your input was appreciated and it will bear many fruits. Asante sana, Dr. Kiboi. Dr. Obonyo from MMU, Multimedia University, right here. Thank you very much, Daktari. Lamek Angila from KCA. KCA, yes, over here. Thank you very much. Karibu sana. And we have Mr. and Dr. and Mrs. Osoro from Kisii University, right here. Yes, thank you. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much for coming. I would like to acknowledge Paul Geshohe from the Technical University of Mombasa, TUM, right here. Asante, karibu sana. Karibu sana from Technical University of Mombasa. You can see we're very well represented, all parts of Kenya. So the deans are doing us proud. And also I'd like to recognize Nicholas Maura, Mr. and Mrs. Nicholas Maura from Riara University, over here, yes. Karibuni sana in your matching African outfits. I don't know if you are aware, Mr. Maura, but there's an award for the best dressed man and woman in the dress code, which is African, and you are already nominated by me to be on the shortlist. So I want you guys, as you're voting, to consider him as you look at others. So these are the deans who are represented here. Is there any dean who might have come in a bit later? I know this table is full. Is there any other dean from any university who might be seated somewhere else? I don't want them to go unnoticed. So, yes, I just want to mention that deans, we really appreciate the role that you play. We know that you are mentors, you're guides in many ways to our students, and we know that our work in the many universities that we are involved in would be impossible without you. We appreciate the partnership we have with you. As you're aware, we actually have a memorandum of understanding with your Deans Association. And we've done many things in the past. We've done curriculums development in the past in terms of how the curriculum that you saw here in how to mentor and shape the lives and the hearts of these students, we've developed together. We've done different programs. You keep sending your students to us. So we truly appreciate the partnership that we've had, the work we've done in the past, and we very much desire to continue being partners and shaping the minds and hearts of the people who hold Kenya's destiny in their hands. So please, let's give one more round of applause to our deans who have represented us here. We are also privileged to have amongst us some senior friends. I think we have got them seated here. I would like to introduce two who are seated here. So if you could just stretch out your hand, Bonandubi Simba, who is there, he's stretching out his hand, and Sam Owen, who is a pioneer of the group that has actually helped birth Aylf and also helped to birth the breakfast movement in Kenya. Sam is now we might call honorary Kenyan citizen after spending decades of his life investing in developing Kenyan leaders right across different sectors and different walks of society. I'd like to introduce the members of the Board of Trustees here present. So Mugo Kibati, if you could raise your hand. Mugo Kibati is there, and we'll be learning, hearing him more during the panel discussion. I don't know if Pauline managed to make it. Might Pauline be in the room? She said she would be coming, but she was out of the country and was flying back just this evening. If she comes in, you could notify me and I could introduce her to us. I would also like to say a big thank you to the many other senior friends who have been here in one way or the other and supported us, and some of the senior friends who are unable to make it actually sponsored us and enabled us to have this event. So the sponsor board is up here, and you can see over here on those screens the logos of the sponsors of today's event. So Sanlam, and we've got representatives from Sanlam over here. Yes, thank you very much. Please, a round of applause from our representatives from Sanlam. We very much appreciate you and your inputs. We have got sponsorship from Telkom Kenya. Telkom Kenya represented here by the sponsors. Yes, thank you very much. And also their chairman, thank you very much for that. And AMG Realtors, a senior friend called Andrew Mudhe. He was unable to be with us here. He's out of the country, but he sends us his regards. On your tables, you will see a product catalog about the real estate and some of the plot offerings he's got. So this is for you. One of the things we do at Aylf is we mentor you in all areas. So this is investment. So nunueni ka plot. Musitoke bila kununua ka plot. Nunueni ka shamba. So we mentor you in all areas. And this is one of them. So you can, ni kusema na kutenda. You see, that's what we do in Aylf. So please have a look at that. That's from one of our sponsors, Andrew Mudhe. So that is what I wanted to do, to acknowledge all those people. We very much appreciate partnerships. And this is really what has helped make Aylf the group that it is today. As we settle down, those who are eating can still go on eating, but I'd like to now move to a session where we hear from our keynote speaker. When we hear from our keynote speaker, and we are going to have a keynote discussion, a keynote presentation followed by a panel discussion. And I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. So our keynote speaker for today is someone we thought is really best suited to talk about the question of futures. Now, when you talk about the future, I think this is a topic that all of us should be interested in. Someone said we should all be interested in the future because you're going to spend the rest of your life there. You do not spend your life in the past. Your present is currently going away, and each moment is fleeting, but you're going to spend the rest of your life in the future. And here is an expert. Dr. Katindi Sivi is actually considered one of Africa's 6 top female futurists. She has been independently rated as that. And she runs seminars and trains and consults on futures thinking, and has been involved in doing work on research of youth demographics, governance and elections, issues of socioeconomic and gender inequalities. I know that Dr. Katindi Sivi is very passionate about our development not only being about infrastructure, but our development being about improving the human quality of Kenyans, what is called investment in the human index. And she has done a lot of work in that. She has worked in this country and overseas and has been involved even at national level in contributing to research and work on futures thinking. So ladies and gentlemen, please, even as you go on eating, and for those of you who haven't managed to have your dessert, you can please, after you finish your main dish, just stand up and go and have your dessert served. But even as we continue eating, I'd like us now to turn our attention to the keynote speaker for today. Please join me in putting your hands together for Dr. Katindi Sivi.
Nafsi yangu msifu Bwana. Daddy on once again.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Jamani. Good evening. Yes. I want to ask you a question. What does the devil do when he sees you getting successful in life? We assume the devil is a he. So what does he do when what does he do when he sees you getting successful in life? He whispers to you, my son or my daughter, please become an MCA. Sorry, I don't know. Okay. So, all protocols observed. As you've been told, my name is Katindi, and I do quite a lot of work on youth research, and I'm privileged to be here to be a keynote speaker today. Now, I know we are eating, but if you're 18 and 35, please stand up. I want this to be a bit interactive, 18 and 35. Tafadhali. Okay, there are some who are 18 and between 18 and 35 at heart, so feel free to stand up. Please, there's an exercise I want us to do. The ones who are seated down, I want you to give me an estimate, a percentage, an estimate of, depending on what they will do. I'm sure there are many people who are under 35 and they are sitting. I can see you all. Jamani, I've been given 20 minutes, so we have to do this quickly. All right, the next thing I'm going to ask all those who are standing up is to close your eyes. Don't worry, we're not going to do any witchcraft. This is how futures works. All right, I want to ask you a couple of questions. And please be as honest as, sasa hamjafunga macho jamani. You don't think I can see you? I know I'm short. All right. So how many are registered voters? Somebody give me an estimate, percentage estimate. About 40? No, not 60. About 40 in my view. All right, okay. Put your hand down. How many plan to vote? Okay, that's 20%. Okay, that's the verdict. How many are members of a political party? 1%. All right, how many will attend a political rally? Wamekata. Another 2%. That's a 2%. All right. How many will actively campaign for a candidate? Okay, 5%. All right. How many will look for a formal election job? To be anything, a clerk, a security officer. Na mnasema hakuna kazi. All right, that's about maybe 15%, all right? How many are planning to vie for a seat? 0.5%. All right, this is a critical question. How many will take a t-shirt or, transport reimbursement from a politician? That is looking like 90%. All right, thank you very much. You may have your seats. Now, I don't know what we notice. All right. What do we notice with those patterns? What do we notice with those patterns? So I was asked to speak about young people and political participation. But what do we notice about those numbers? Why are young people participating in some areas and not participating in others? Any question? So we did this study, Africa-wide, but also in Kenya. And you can see that, I don't know whether this thing actually, oh yeah, it does. If you look at your screen, you'll see that out of 1,030 young people that were surveyed, 774 actually skipped that question. And only 200, about 256 answered the question. And out of those few people, only 75 said they would vote. Only 41 said they would actively campaign for a candidate. Only 34 said they would attend a political rally. Only 32, will be involved in civic education. Only 25, will sort of like, participate in a formal process, electoral process, whether it's a clerk, a returning officer and such. Only 19 will join a political party, and only 9 will actually vie for a seat. And, the formal role of working for a county and any other was about 7%. And one may ask, what is the reason for young people's passiveness? I don't know if anybody has an answer. You've seen the IEBC went out to try, and I'm told they were hoping to get 6 million people, most of who are young, to do what? To register, isn't it, to become voters? Unfortunately, how many did they get? Sorry? 1.5, all right? So what do we think is the passiveness? Why are young people so passive? And somebody actually said, young people are not passive. They are engaging. It's just that they are engaging in other things, not these ones that we are asking them to. So what is the reason? And in our questioning and in our asking, the first reason that has come out in a lot of conversations is that when you talk to young people, and then on one hand, and on the other hand, you talk and look through government priorities, you actually realize they are quite mismatched. And, it's sort of like a tension where it's almost like going into two different sort of like directions. There's confusion and there's that mutual distrust. And so what are the priorities for young people? Young people want to have fun, they want to have sex, a lot of it, and they want, I'm sorry. If these are not conversations you have in these groups, I'll just tell you. And they want money. How many of you, in an earlier conversation today we asked, how many of you have a Fuliza loan? Ukweli tu? How many? Hamwezi sema. There's an honest one that side and there's an honest one that side. Now, if you dig deeper into I think it was a ridiculous, like 2.1 billion, I think, is actually Fulizoed every day. And most of those people are young people. What are they doing with that money? Any guesses? Sorry? Oh, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Somebody on this active table says they Fuliza the money to have fun and sex. Yes, and you're right, because when you dig deeper into that data, a lot of them are buying pizzas for girlfriends to impress. You know, you get into debt for such things. But when you look at government priorities, you realize that it doesn't sort of like touch on those things. And so that tension is real. But the second thing, I think, the second thing that has been cited is that there's a distinct sort of like segment of young people. So we treat young people as similar, but they are very different in many ways. And a lot of them, the different segments have very different sort of like attitudes, knowledge, and willingness to engage in political processes. So let's look at the different young people that we have. This is an interesting sort of like cartoon that I like, and it captures Kenya society in a way. I don't know whether you, like me, the 1% that is enjoying most of the resources is where? Is at the top of the wine glass. Then a lot of Kenyans are one salary away from poverty. And I think COVID did prove that. I know we keep saying that we have a middle class that is growing. But the point is that a lot of us are struggling at the stem. And the people who are either unemployed or in precarious situations are quite a number. And all of us are really scrambling for very small opportunities. But further than that, I think a study has also been done by a well-told story. And they do a lot of youth surveys, and they categorize young people in Kenya into 5. So the first category of young people is the dealer, okay? The dealer is well-educated and well-connected, okay? So they engage in government on behalf of young people. So they go to those conferences and say, we the young people, right? We the young people are very well connected to the who's who in society. And so what they do is they are the greatest beneficiaries of youth resources. They speak very good English. They know where the opportunities are, and they seize them to the maximum. And they know to speak the 2 languages. They know to speak officialdom, and they also know how to speak language. Streetdom, yes. Language ya mtaa. So these people are beneficiaries. And they also then, there's a second one, which is the dreamer. I think as I talk about these categories, think about your friends, and try and categorize them. But there's another one, the dreamer. This one blindly hangs around politicians. You know, they serially attend the rallies, the workshops. If you have been doing a lot of trainings, you will see them at the gates. Hii ni workshop gani iko hapa leo? And they come. I represent sijui nani na nani na nani, and they have the same answer for the water workshop, for the housing workshop, for the agriculture workshop, for the, democracy workshop. But they also, are the ones that feel so happy. Their affirmation is the fact that they have association with who? With politicians, isn't it? They have a few numbers on speed dial with politicians. And so, but what they don't recognize, they think they have influence, right? But they don't have real power or real influence. So they get the crumbs of youth resources, and they do the dirty, underpaid work. So this is your guy. If you want, how much does it cost to sort of like disrupt a rally? Anybody has done that kind of analysis? You guys, I know some of you are mobilizers. 1,000 shillings? Hakuna. How much to disrupt? Nyinyi ni mabuji. How much? Imagine, those who disrupt rallies are paid as little as 50 shillings. 50 bob. Okay, the guy who mobilizes gets like 1,000. Then the goons themselves get 50 bob. Then how much does it cost to do something a little greater than disrupt a meeting? You know, perhaps stone throwing a bit. No offense to any community. And any such things. How much are you paid? About 300. And then now we have 1,000 bob for doing more atrocious things like to kill, to burn, you know, a political office and stuff like that. So this is your guy, because that association, this person needs to prove their worth to the politician. Still, these are what levels of participation. Then we have number 3. We have the disillusioned and disengaged. This one was once very hopeful, okay? But now they have given up. The system, you know, for example, has already predetermined the president in 2022. Why should I bother? Sindio? Okay, I can see we have converts of disillusioned and disengaged. Then they feel excluded, and it matters that they are not part of the system, because they once believed in it, but now they don't. So they are looking elsewhere for inspiration and for help. Okay? Know any few people like that? Then there's the disgruntled guy, or, you know, person. These ones are so angry, you know, because they either don't have information, they feel excluded, they feel voiceless, they have the energy, but really they don't have they don't know where to channel it. And so, because the vote has not meant anything, and they've been let down by the government that cares nothing about them, and it has sold them lies, what do? They go to the other extreme. These ones are your recruits to extremist groups. They are your recruits if you want people to riff-raff others and so forth, because they have nothing to lose. Okay? And then there's the second last group. These ones have just decided, you know what? I don't know anything about politics. I don't want to know anything about politics. And I don't even care about politics, right? And then they don't make a correlation even between politics and their lives. So they're just happy not being able to participate. Now, if you've done your demographics well, you'll see that the younger cohort of young people, a lot of them are actually in this space. And then most youth have already made up their minds based on past experience or information and are dismissive. Now, there are some that are, I don't know what, they don't quite seem to have a name in the 5 that I have given, and they are dismissive of government, and this is what they say. Sorry, I need somebody, oh, good. So this one, hapa ngwingwi. Yes, that is the one who now, they have gone beyond, and they've really given up hope. So what has to be done? I think if you look at those categories of people,
maisha ni yangu,
see is their own
shughulika na yako, sipagwingwi,
sipagwingwi. And this is important because think about this in 10 years. If you have a big cohort of sipangwingwi, what kind of a country are you going to have? Right? And you can see that in a survey that was done between 2015 and 2017, you can see that the numbers of the sipangwingwi category, the disenfranchised, the disgruntled, is actually growing, and the disengaged. And the few people that could make a difference, whether it's the, you know, the first to the dealer, and the dreamer are basically the ones that are fewest in number. And so what we are also saying here is that the first category, the dreamer and the dealer see themselves as partners. They see themselves as having a stake of some sort, and they want to be part of the process. The other two, who are, maybe they used to care, but, well, things are going south a bit. They feel that they are non-recipient of these things, and so they are negative, yes. But the others, on the extreme, right or left, have given up hope, and they see themselves as objects to be used. And if you ask any politician, they'll tell you that their political survival depends on who? Their political survival depends on Sipangwingwi, the disenfranchised and the disgruntled. And so the thing, I think the message to bring across to young people is that, I don't know about you, but I think we need to change our attitude towards politics, because you and I know what will happen if nothing changes. I think the second thing is that, we need the essentials of, or rather, there are essentials of meaningful engagement. They say that for any country and its young people to be meaningfully engaged, you need the space, you need the audience, they need voice, and they need influence. In Kenya, I think we have, and comparing our country with all the problems we have to other African countries, we have one of the highest opportunities in these areas. Unfortunately, we want the rights without what? Responsibility. We do not want to take up the space. We want somebody else to do that for us. We want to speak, but complain that people are not listening to us, instead of creating our own spaces. We have voice, but in a sense, sometimes we misuse that voice. And we can influence if we created other, if we try to be a bit more influential, but we somehow don't follow through with some of those things. And so young people have to engage in the full spectrum as beneficiaries of programs. And I think those who have worked in government know. And actually, I think the last 5 years, youth programs have just completely escalated. And you are not short of programs that you can plug into. But to what extent do we take advantage of these programs? Somebody was saying today that they were going through their social media, and there's this pop-up that kept coming, and they didn't realize that it was a pop-up for a free program, and they were just not interested in the pop-up because they are so busy looking at what? Their social media. So these opportunities are there, but are we engaging as beneficiaries? But secondly, are we collaborating in decision-making and in co-designing? And a lot of people have complained, or young people have complained and said, well, we want to be, older people don't invite us, and when they do, they invite us as if they don't want. Create your own spaces. And, if you're doing a good job, people will come and collaborate with you. But lastly, I think you have to offer leadership in very many things that, all these problems that we have need a solution, and we can offer the leadership. And why is that the case? Why is it possible? It's possible because we have the numbers. I was just doing the math today, and when you look at Kenya's demographics, so the people who are 15 years old when the census was taken will be 18 in next year, isn't it? So they are eligible voters. So those, all 18 to 35, young women are actually 8 million. Okay? The 18 to 35 males are how many? 7.5. What does that mean? Combined, if young people decided today, we are going to make a unanimous decision about who is going to have leadership in our country, what would happen? You carry the day, right? Because we would have how many? 15.5 million votes. Compare that with the women, with the older folk, all right? The plus 35 only have 12 million votes. So assume it was a perfect scenario where everyone is voting. If the youth decided, they would actually carry the day by so far. If women came together, another scenario, all women, and we decide, ni time yetu, what would happen? We would have a total vote of 14 million compared to the his, who would have only 13.5. Again, we would carry the day. The point is not to bring any divisions, but the point is to say that We have opportunities, we have power because we have the numbers. Why else must we do this? In 2010, I told you I do youth research and policy analysis. And in 2010, we were looking at what is the future of Kenya, looking at the increasing numbers of youth demographics. And you know, we went around the country talking to young people. We had about 11 workshops. The 2 workshops that actually shocked me were the ones in Mombasa, or the coast area, and the northern area. So let me give you 2 stories. At the coast at the time, young people were so angry about historical injustices. And what they did is that they wanted to actually do what? Secede. Okay? In northern Kenya, this is what they told us. So first of all, in the meeting, at some point the meeting stopped and they were talking in the local language. And so one of the guys asked me, do you want to hear what we are saying? And I said, well, I'm interested. And then they said, we are discussing whether we should trust you to tell you who's Al-Shabaab in this room. Obviously, you can imagine how shocked I was. And then I'm thinking, I'm not sure I wanted to know. But eventually, the guy who was sort of like having the highest argument said, I actually came from Somalia last week, and I came to bury my cousin, and I am going back. And so a typical researcher feels like, why would you do something like that? I mean, your life is at stake. And so we had this heated debate, and they said the reason why it looks attractive to us is because it offers things that any opportunity that is being afforded to us doesn't. Number one, Kenya denies us. So this is, remember, we're talking in the north. It denies us identity. And what does that mean? How many of you know what a policeman does when, particularly in those areas when they want to know whether you're Kenyan? What do? They check your immunization, and what's the second thing they check? The texture of your hair. Now, you can imagine somebody from the northern Kenya, those 2 are really missing, isn't it? Why? Because perhaps they were up and about when, or they first of all were born at home and they didn't have any immunization. But secondly, they are Cushitic, so their hair is quite light. And so because of that, and because of the denial of an identity card, they are never able to get services. And so they said, but when we go across, we are welcomed and we are given identity through this forum, okay? Number 2, they said, if Kenya was if Somalia was at peace, we would actually secede and become part of Kenya. And they said the second thing this people provide for us is camaraderie. They give us a sense of, they call it brotherhood. And they said, listen, if I go there, I'm given a cause to die for. And they said, I'd rather live a short life, but that has impact and is meaningful, than to live a long, miserable life. Okay? So they have a cause. But number 3, they said, I have a promise. What is the promise? If I die, I get how many virgins? Ishio, Saba. Okay? That is an attractive thing. So, and I said, let us think about a program in Kenya, whether it's employment, whether anything, that gives those 3 things: identity, camaraderie, and hope. And I realized that our programming is so bad to the point where we are doing a disservice to a lot of these young people. And whereas as researchers or other people, we keep condemning them and telling them, this is bad, don't you use your common sense, we are not providing an alternative for those things. Anyway, so when we finished this work, we came up with 4 interesting scenarios. And the first scenario is a scenario that was called, I'm sorry about that, is a scenario that was called the El Nino, or rather, the tsunami scenario. And in the tsunami scenario, they were saying, as young people, as long as you continue denying our identity, continue making us not participate in these things and, in a sense, disenfranchising us, we will be the lot. We will have a mass of people that are angry. And when we mobilize, we will be like a tsunami, and the rest of you will not have a place to live. Okay? The second one was the pond scenario. And in the pond scenario, they said, usually how government or other people sort of like deal with that kind of dissent is massive force. And so what do young people do with their anger, with their disenfranchisement, with their disillusionment? They drug themselves to death. They sex themselves to death. They debt themselves to death. Everything else, all those vices. And so think about a pond and think about what Kenya would look like without a functional youth. A youth that has been stolen away from us because of these vices. Right? I'll leave that to your imagination. But they said, Kenya has an opportunity to think about this demographic and to plan for it and to include us in active participation, but we have to make a decision as young people to be able to actually then actively participate, but also the benefits come to us. And they described a scenario that was called the ocean scenario, that Kenya and Africa, because of the resource called young people, they have an opportunity to have endless possibilities. And the last scenario was where we were saying, but those endless possibilities perhaps would get us to a place of affluence whereby we now become so rich that we become, not so useful or not so engaged, and we become like the waterfall scenario. And the question became, at this crossroads where we have young people who can make this country great, but also can make this country, in a sense, be something we cannot recognize, which road would we choose to go? And so as I conclude my discussion, one of the things in my interactions with young people, particularly when it comes to issues around, participation or issues around, why are young people so disillusioned? A lot of them are saying, why do I go and vote? Why can't you just enable me with my Wi-Fi to vote online? But the thing is that a lot of us are also under the capture that there's nothing we can do when we have a bad leadership. We will have it whether we like it or not. And we are like, in a sense, this picture, we don't realize, we have the illusion that the politicians are the ones who hold the power. We don't realize that we are standing on this other end. And we have the power to influence and drive the systems of the future, and that if we leave this scene, for example, in that picture, the politician will cease to exist. And so the point becomes, what shall we do in 2022 as young people here who have made a commitment to be change agents in your community? How will we work with our other young people to make sure that, we have that collective power and we can make that collective decision to make Kenya great? And I think young people are the ones to help us in that regard. And all I'm saying is that we've got to change the way we are looking at things and make a difference in Kenya. Hallelujah. Okay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, can you do a round of applause than that? Mimi leo nimejifunza mengi bwana. Kuna mwingine amesoma kama mimi. Now, I want us to jitambue. So I want all of us to decide which of these do we fall into. Disgruntled. Mko wapi? Disillusioned. Alafu ile si pangwingwi mko wapi? Hebu simama ndio wale pale. Hebu simameni. La. So I'm telling you, all of these scenarios are very fascinating. I'd like to invite our two panelists who are going to join the speaker up front, and we're going to have a discussion. So Isaac and Mugo, if you could please come up front and take a seat here. Isaac, please come up front. You can take the two seats on either side of Katindi. Take those seats there, please. Asanteni sana. Let me tilt this a bit. So I want us to I want us to have a discussion, and we are just going to be following up on what was said. I think there's some very, very useful information that we have got. Very good insight, but what I also very much appreciate about this is that these are not just opinions, that this is actually backed by very solid research and data. And it is relevant, it is something that affects all of us. And I want us to engage in a bit of a discussion here with the panel, and then we'll also invite you to give your comments and make some questions. So let me start by introducing our panelists. To my immediate left is Mugo Kibati. He is currently chairman of Telkom, CEO of Telkom, and he is also maybe known to some of us as the former Director General of Vision 2030. I know he's someone who is passionate about youth. He's also one of the mentors at AYLF and one of our senior friends, and also happens through Telkom to be one of our sponsors for today's dinner. So you've eaten at part of his cost. Dinner was on him. So please give him a round of applause.
I also used to be Sanlam CEO, so...
Yes, and used to be a Sanlam CEO, amongst many other things. So to my extreme left is Dr. Isaac Kalua Green. He is founder, wears many hats, but he's founder of Green Party of Kenya. Some of you who are vying for political seats and don't know which party to run on, please see him after this. But he is someone, as you can see, one of his passions is the environment and sustainability. As a principle, makes it his rule to wear something green every day. So today he's got a green cap, and he's actually even officially known as Green. It's not no longer a nickname. Is that true? Yes, he actually formalized Green as part of his name. Some of you also know him as a columnist on Standard on Sunday, where he talks about many issues of public policy, helping shape opinions. He is an entrepreneur, chairman of several motor-related agencies, and also a manufacturer in the boda and motorcycle industry. And I could go on describing a lot about him, but he's also someone who is very passionate about the vision of AYLF, and one whose input we appreciate. Please welcome Dr. Isaac Kalua Green. I'd like to just ask, maybe we'll start with Mugo and then Isaac. Just give a response to what you heard. I don't want to pick out anything in particular. You heard it. Just say, what stood out for you, and given the audience, how do you want, as a start, just to respond to that?
Thank you very much, Cosma, our very able chair of the trustees, and good evening, everybody. I'll do what Kathy did. Good evening, everybody. I think the meal was a good one. First of all, let me thank Cosma and the organizers of this function. Also the AYLF team, very ably led by Gabriel. You've come a long way. And I think when I came in here, I commented to Cosma at the turnout here. A great turnout. So when I look at everyone here, and I know that you all identify yourself in the various Ds that Katindi spoke to, and Katindi, great presentation. I know Katindi very well, a long time, and we've discussed some of these things with her. She's always a very great articulator of these issues and very passionate about them. When I look at the team or the young people sitting in here, you already have self-identified. The mere fact that you're sitting here means that you're a lot more active, a lot more engaged than the majority of your age mates, which gives you serious responsibility. I think the challenge that came from Katindi is one that you have to take up even more than anyone else out there, because already you are leaders. Now, to respond to Cosma's question, what do I take away from Katindi's brilliant presentation? First of all, it's clear that increasingly the younger lot, if only they woke up to it, has a tremendous opportunity to impact the direction in which this country is headed. A tremendous opportunity. You're the majority by far. However, history repeats itself. Because for whatever reason, the young people who have the most energy, there's an adage that says when you're young and you have all the energy, but you don't have the money, and you don't have, and you're dealing with fun and sex. When you're older and you have the money and you've realized how important things are, you have little energy, right, to engage and to influence. You're jaded. Now, when you're as engaged as you are, I think the challenge from Katindi is to say, is a challenge for every generation. It's not new. If you look at the people, and by the way, she asked all of you who are between 18 and 35 to stand up. Let me just assure you one thing. One day, somebody will ask you who are between 18 and 35 to stand up, and you'll be seated. Can I repeat that? I guarantee you, God willing, and I think you should pray for it because you pray for a long life, right? We don't want you to die before you're 35. I guarantee all of you that one day, people between the age of 18 and 35 will be asked to stand, and you will not be one of them. And you will wonder, what did I do in my youth? What value did I add? Did I just remain this disgruntled sipangwingwi? Or was I actively engaged despite the odds? Because the fact of the matter is, and I say this, the older guys you see who have caused you to be disillusioned, you know, you look at the political class and you all complain, you know, we have a bunch of old men, and mostly men. But now increasingly I'm seeing even the women are also getting, we also now getting old women. When I was younger, there were very few old women in politics. You'll be one of them. And so, and those people who are ahead of you, most of them made a decision of their own to be more engaged. Most of them didn't get a handout. I know that there is this whole hustler dynasty narrative, right? And maybe one could say, oh, dynasty, people got a helping hand. Frankly speaking, even the dynasty guys who have succeeded to rise to high political position have had to work for it. It wasn't handed to them on a silver platter, even the ones who you would consider dynasty. There are many who are dynasty and they are nowhere. They have no pool. And there are many who come from very humble backgrounds, very, very humble backgrounds, but they are moving mountains today in the country and globally. So I hope that Katindi's presentation challenges you to use your God-given talents, not to keep complaining or waiting for somebody somewhere to be fair to you. The world is unfair, by the way. You know, all those lessons in school, we were all cheated, including me. The world is made fair by people such as yourselves and me. You who have God-given talents, you have benefits and advantages that others do not, which is why you're sitting here. You have a higher responsibility to apply them to make the world that you think is unfair, fairer. When I was younger, we had these leaders who we refer to as the second liberation leaders. They went through a tough time. Very tough time. Nobody gave it to them on a silver platter. Many of them became great leaders. Many of them became people who you see as not being great leaders for yourselves. So for me, Cosma, I look at the young men and women sitting here, and I'm hoping that that presentation, because the one thing, just to finish, the one thing I would add is, was that me? The one thing I would add, yes, you have God-given talents. Yes, you're engaged. Yes, you're here. But stay informed. I hope that all of you will request for the presentation she made, that you'll apply your minds to it, because too often, many of us, thinking we're super smart, super talented, and you are, do things without being properly informed, not doing the hard work that Katindi has done. Katindi has done the hard work for us. All you have to do is study, listen to her, and study what she has done, and then apply your minds to it. I would say that being informed and paying attention to the kind of research that Katindi has presented today is very important in your lives as leaders going forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mugo. So stay informed. Let's be informed. This is very well done research, and take your part. Don't sit by the sidelines. Play your part. Dr. Kalua, what is your response to that presentation?
Thank you. In the year 2005, I thank God for the opportunity that was given to me to lead a Kenyan affair in the event, Kenya's biggest event then, and the first ever world event called the 2007 World Cross Country Championships that was held in Mombasa. This was after a very successful mission in leading one of the sporting associations, where I was easily offered a lot of money as a bribe, not less than 15 million Kenya shillings then, which I utterly refused to take, and therefore found myself in a better job, and the one that I was supposed to do and lead the nation. First of all, to bid to host the World Cross Country Championships, then host, and then eventually have the post of it. It is in 2005 that I got myself this attire that I'm putting on. Today is the 8th time that I have put it on. It's something that I value most in anything that I have in me, because it was the first time to lift the Kenyan flag. We were in Russia, Moscow, and we were there fighting with 3 countries who wanted to bid the same event. And one of them was America. I took so much passion in the job, raising the flag of Kenya, having sleepless nights, to the point that most of the people that we were working with could not understand why it was that I was putting so much effort in this process. Out of the passion that we put in this process, America stood and said that they think Kenya must hold this event, because even the tagline that we had for the event is that cross-country comes home. It was so passionate, they actually tendered in their resignation as a bidder to say, let it go to Kenya. We see how passionate they are. I mean, how can they just lose? And mobilizing the team and everyone towards this. What am I trying to say? If we passionately hold our country just like what my sister has put through, nothing is impossible. There are challenges that we will meet in life time and again. There are issues that we will encounter. It takes 2 to tango. The nation needs quite a lot, and as she spoke, I was wondering whether she was peeping at what I wrote in my article, which I recommend that you and everyone in this room reads tomorrow. It's a must read, having followed what she's talked about. It will be in the Standard. You can find it on kaluagreen.com, and you can be able in the Standard newspaper. And it's about the 8 Ps that we need to bring our leadership back to where it's supposed to be. Passion is what we need. And this country, you talked about me having a political party. I tried to vie once in 2002. Guys, I twangered down like you have never seen. And then I was, I woke up, my first thing, it's 30 years now since I started doing business in 1991. And in 2002, I said, guys, I've been fighting for this. I wanted to make people to succeed. I wanted women from my village to sell their kyondos. My first ever place to go was in Japan. And I failed in my second appointment, which was going to give me 5 million Kenya shillings, just because I was late for 7 minutes. Only 7 minutes. And I lost the contract. I'm introducing the subject of time. Youth, 18 to 35. Please remember, there is no future that you're having. Future is now. There is the urgency of dealing with issues that we must deal with today, not tomorrow. We are headed for a session, and I'm glad that my sister was talking about politics. I would not have wanted to talk about politics tonight. As a mentor of the Aylf, I passionately enjoy talking on other things, but I found pleasure in talking about politics. 2,706 positions will be up for grabs to represent 50 million Kenyans. This includes the 2,274 MCAs. It will include the 374 or thereabout members of parliament, up all the way to the deputy president and the president. If you don't wake up, it will be late. What made me fail in the 2002 elections was very clear. I didn't have a party. I thought that I only came to find that kumbe party inakuanga na wenyewe, when you really wanted to do everything else. And you also find yourself in a party and you are told that things must go this way. And in Kiswahili, I never forget to say and to remember what my colleagues keep saying: the say of the chairman must happen, and there is no any other way. And that is the reason why I formed a Green Party. I do not intend to vie. I created this platform for the youth of this country to have their own, and particularly the AYLF, and they all know that I have shared this before, so that you can have a platform that you can do what you have to do because it is your institution. But why must we do these things? You hear that I am part of Honda. I did not just invest in that institution for nothing. It is in adding value in Kenyans. Yesterday, we celebrated the making of the 100,000th unit. What does that mean? I'm not a maker of motorcycles. I exist to transform lives. Those are 100,000 tangible jobs in the border sector. Those are 100,000 people who are supporting 6 people, that is 600,000 Kenyans. Those are jobs amounting to about 892,000 jobs tangibly for Kenyans. And that is the direction we must make. I'll go towards finishing this by saying education is one of the areas that will help us to get into all this. You're all educated and given different positions of power and to empower you. Education is no longer an end by itself. It needs to take us to the next level by using it as a platform. I was just imagining 2008 the other day. There were 100,000 graduates from university. how many people had wanted to get into that position? It was 1 million people. 13 years later today, we have about 4 million to 6 million people who are joining the primary school, class 1, but last year we graduated about 800,000 only. Where are this difference? Where is this difference? Who is going to reach out to them? Isn't it an opportunity to do business that can also fill in the gap that my sister was talking about? And how do you deal with this in finality? It is dealing and bringing up the youthfulness in you, in the 18 to 35, and combining it with the wisdom that is there with the Kibatis, my sister Daktari, your chairman, so that you can bring this together and consolidate issues, synthesize issues, so that you can gain from what little I may have as just a cow from, by the way, I forgot to mention that I come from Texas. So that you just don't mistake me around when I'm around, you know. Yeah, truly, on a serious note, I come from Texas. Of course, Texas is that place past Mexico, where Mexico is Machakos, kwa hivyo Kitui ndio kwetu. So, as in, so we need to synthesize and be able to take up issues in the best way possible, because if we don't take up what we have to do, as our sister has said, nobody's gonna do that. I'm proud to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Kalua. There's a quote I like referring to. This is by a famous social scientist. Her name is Margaret Mead. And she spent a lot of time looking at cultures across different continents. She spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, different parts of the world. And she was seeing, researching into the question of what does it take to bring about change. And her most famous quote on this is the following: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So that's what Margaret Mead found out after having studied many communities and societies. So what we are seeking to do in Kenya to change things for the better is nothing new. Humankind in many generations has done it. But she said that it's not the mass movement. It's a small group, such as yourselves, of committed citizens that bring about this change. In fact, she goes on in her book to say it's actually about 3% of any population. Once they have the passion and the vision and are committed, as Isaac said, committed, they can then infect and inform the others and bring about this change. Now, my beef with you young people is that how are we going to bring about this change if you're not even taking voting cards? Mmekataa kuchukua kura kwa nini? I mean, so we've just heard that there's a disgruntled, there's a disillusioned group on the sidelines. But I know, I can hear some murmuring, and I'll give you the microphone to speak. But I'm just wondering what the issue is. But I can maybe ask a question on your behalf to the panelists here. Is that many of the young panelists actually look and they fall into this disillusioned category. They feel excluded. They feel no longer part of the party and no longer part of the system. That their voice doesn't count, and also disenfranchised, where they don't know and they don't care. So I just wanted to challenge the older people who are on the panel, because you might be looking up to them as your seniors. When they accuse you of having sat on all the opportunities and having taken all the opportunities away from them to the point that they get disillusioned, they're disenfranchised, and therefore disenfranchised because they're not taking votes, how do you respond? And maybe I'll start with you, Katindi. What is your message to such people who say that it's the older people, such as yourselves, who've messed up and stacked the deck in your favor? The micro, you can use this one. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's an excuse,
because I think you have all the opportunities you need. And sometimes we think we categorize opportunities in certain way. You say that I don't have money, so I won't do it. But the point is not everything needs money. There are many opportunities that are available without, the usual sort of like things that we have boxed as unless I do this or unless I get this, I am not where I'm supposed to go. So I think it's an excuse, and I think part of what I've seen makes a difference. And even when I teach, I do a lot of trainings for young Africans to try and get them to do, futures thinking, to think beyond, the here, the now, the me, and think about a bit more, generational type of things. What makes the difference between the ones who get it and the ones who don't is a personal decision and a personal choice. And unless, a lot of times, and I blame this on programming, I think part of the messaging we have been giving young people is that there's someone else who's supposed to rescue you. If it's not my parents, it is, I don't know, the education system. But unless you take it upon yourself to make that decision that no one can live my life for me, I have to live it myself, I have choices and decisions to make, and every time I don't make a decision, I have still made a choice. And that when and every passing day, you don't do that, you actually miss an opportunity. And like the panelists have said, one day you will be, I laughed when I got past 35 because I said, I'm out of the group that will get any scholarship, any call for any training, any call for anything. Top 40 and you are not there. So that day will come. And so if you're not utilizing this time that you have those opportunities, it is a decision you're making. And so you cannot blame anybody else. Yeah.
Mogo, you are Vision 2030 director. And this vision that you spent, so many years trying to create the vision, is it really going to happen with these kind of attitudes? If people are disillusioned, disenfranchised, and those are the people who will be in real positions of authority in 2030, what do you think is the bottleneck and the challenge, and how can you motivate these young people in order to truly achieve the greatness that was envisioned in Vision 2030?
No matter how disillusioned, disgruntled, despondent, angry you may or may not be, the world will still revolve on its own axis. The world on the earth will still revolve around the sun. Days will come and go, months will come and go, years will pass, countries will grow, this economy will grow. So you sit there being angry and disgruntled and despondent, others are going to move ahead. Others will take those opportunities, those scholarships. And as she said, once you hit the 35, and I repeat, the day will come and you will not be in that category below 35 where everything, as she says, scholarships, grants and programs and government and everything are available to you. Now, excuse me, just to marry the question you asked first about young people complaining about opportunities being taken by the older people, and the question about achieving Vision 2030. First of all, I've always, taken umbrage at that notion of somebody is taking away your opportunity. You don't own any opportunity. What is an opportunity? What is a job or an elective position? There is no shareholder in this world who has taken money out of his pocket, his or her pocket, to invest in a business for returns, who will give you a job to give you an opportunity. They will give you that job for you to deliver results for them. And they will give you that job because they believe you have the capacity and ability, and you haven't hidden that capacity and ability. You've demonstrated that capacity and ability to deliver results for him or her. Period. There is no political leader who will appoint you to an appointed, cabinet or, government position, if they do not see you as providing value to them, you must force yourself on these opportunities. You must stand forward and say, without me, you will not advance your programs, Mr. President, Mr. Governor. Without me, you as a CEO of Telecom Kenya cannot grow this company. You have to change the language. The language can't be, you people are taking away our opportunities. They don't belong to anybody. And they never have, by the way. So I think it's important that we also present ourselves in the proper manner, not in the victim or dependent manner. Few people value dependence. In fact, most of us who are parents, we're just waiting for to grow the dependents we have and get them out of the house. Nobody wants to keep a dependent forever or take them on. People want people who will add value to them, no matter what it is, the field, whether it's politics or business, family, even in families in the farm, at home. People want somebody who's going to add value in a shamba. So I think that this notion that the elderly people or older people have taken all the opportunities is, the more that the youth continue with that notion, the more I feel sorry for them. You'll have 96-year-old people continuing to chair the Youth Fund of Kenya unless you change their attitude. There's a reason that appointment was made. I grant you. Because, let me repeat this, every political leader, from the president down to governors to all people making appointments, every business leader wants to succeed. Make no mistake. Just like you want to succeed, they want to succeed. And they want people in their team who will give them the greatest chance of success, period. So if you're a 22-year-old, versus a 45-year-old, and you as a 22-year-old present the best possible opportunity for success, you will get that opportunity availed to you. It's yourself to make yourself add value. And this is why I always say sometimes don't be in a hurry. Because education, and as Dr. Kalua indicated, all of us here are educated, experience, information, and how you apply yourself to information, hard work, all these count to preparing yourself to be available for that opportunity. Curiosity. Katindi gave the example of people ignoring messages because they're so busy doing whatever they're doing, and those messages are giving you information that can advance you. So applying yourself is critical. And once we have done this, we shall achieve Vision 2030. I am pretty confident that with this kind of team here, I was in a discussion just a couple of weeks ago, a debate about whether we should adjust Vision 2030 to something else like 2040 because it appears that many of the goals and objectives that we had hoped to achieve by this point in time in 2021, in order to achieve the goals of 2030 by the year 2030, we haven't achieved a significant number, especially in the social, socio-economic side of things. We've done very, reasonably well on the infrastructure, but the infrastructure is people forget, that's just an enabler. We don't live for roads, right? Roads are an enabler for a better life, right? But my very strong response was, no, we must stick to 2030. If in 2008, when we mooted Vision 2030, it required a speed of 50 kilometers per hour in order to achieve our goals and objectives by the year 2030, and now we have fallen behind, then we have to accelerate from 50 to 100 kilometers per hour in order to achieve Vision 2030. And who is best able to accelerate their speed? It's the young, youthful people. The new ideas and innovations you have. Technology is advancing so rapidly today that some of us are ossifying so quickly. I keep telling my friends, I'm so happy that in the next few years I'll be retiring. I don't want to be a CEO for more than another 10 years. I won't be able to keep up with technology. It's changing so fast. but the young amongst you can keep up. And this is what's Vision 2030. It's about ensuring that we have a prosperous life for as many Kenyans as possible using the resources we have, which keep changing every day. So for me, short answer is yes, we will. Either you join the journey, or you'll be left behind, right? And please, you have a lot of God-given talents. Your parents have helped you get educated. Your teachers have prepared you. Many of you have had experience for the first few years of your professional careers. Keep applying that and keeping informed and presenting yourselves as credible people who can add value to any venture that you're interested in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'd like the Ivy or Masha, just take the microphone around. If you, I'd like to get one or two questions from you, so just put up your hands, and there's a microphone that will come to you. But as the microphone is going around to someone who wants to speak, I'd like Dr. Kalua also to respond. Do you think it's really the older folks, people such as yourself, who are the bottleneck? Are you part of the problem or the solution when it comes to realizing Kenya's dream?
In life, nothing is as potent as the silent influence of a good example. Okay, I've been asked to repeat that. They say that in life, nothing is so potent as the silent influence of a good example. Why AYLF today stands because of the commitment, because of the love that a gentleman has for the membership of AYLF. That man, I know him. He protects you. He loves AYLF, and he does what it takes to keep the institution running. It is out of that example that has been presented by one Gabriel Achayo that AYLF stands. And there is no shortcut to leadership. There is no shortcut to leadership. You have to lead by example, whether in your family, in your office, in your friendship. And human beings are created in a very interesting way. We all have a label in front of our face. It says, use me or lose me. It's simple. Because everyone has a purpose in life. Why they want to exist, why they want to do what they want to do, and the moment you don't use them, you lose them. In the 70s, when the former President Kenyatta, the first president of the nation, led, he appointed very youthful leaders, very youthful, 28, 32, 35. Those were the members of parliament, members of cabinet, and everything that was expected. He had a vision. What happened thereafter? The guys stayed on, and they stayed on, and they never let power go. They stayed on. As a result, what we are seeing in the youth of our country today is a continuous pain that has been inflicted in them, wondering when are we going to arrive tomorrow, which we are promised that it is our time to be leaders of this country. And we have stayed on. I therefore choose, on behalf of my age mates and those who are older than me, to apologize to the youth of this country, because we have done wrong. We have not given them the opportunity. I sat the other day with a member of AYLF, and I was explaining what my vision was. You remember I had a party, thank you, that you attended, and we were talking with the youth. And this person, I was trying to explain what I really want to do for this nation and why I think that the youth need to take up. And Felix Loan, who is a member of the team, he really put me into task. He wanted to understand who I am. He wanted to know why I have formed a party. He wanted to understand so many things, and I had to explain. And he was seriously waiting for the explanation, so that if he is going to make a decision whichever way, or whichever it was, whether he was going to be part of it because he represents a constituency of the youth in this country, then it would. And I really took time to take him through hours on end. Today, Out of that leadership, out of that commitment, Felix Loan is the Secretary General of the GTAP because he has understood, and that is what it takes in leadership. We do not take time to listen to our youth. They have a way of doing things that we cannot understand. We have to drop down and believe in what they want to believe in. They do things in a different way. They understand things from a different perspective. I got to know a computer when I was a very old person. They understand all this stuff when they are 5 years old. What we may want to do or explain, they already know. So I think we have been part of the problem, and therefore I apologize. But immediately after, I want to request the youth of this country, the youth in AYLF, because we can never talk about the youth of the country. We have to talk about the people who are here listening to us today, so that we can be the change that we would want to see. The world has got too much. What are you keeping yourself into? What is placing food on your table? What does it matter in what we are discussing today? This country, this nation, this world, we are in a global world where we need data, where education and everything else can be able to be used to bring food on the table. What are you doing that can be able to place yourself ahead of everybody else? Because we all have an opportunity. What is this that you can be able to do? Even as the older people guide you, even as we apologize for what we have not been able to do, who are your friends in Facebook? Are you wasting time with friends, even in AYLF, that are not even value to you? Or are you being surrounded by people who are not being able to help you? I said I lost a business. 7 minutes, having traveled for Kenya to Tokyo and thereafter to Osaka. 7 minutes late, I lost everything. Who is going to wait for you if you don't wake up and do what you have to do for your own generation that can be able to change this country?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, is the microphone, Ivy, anybody whose hand is up? I just want to, as we wrap up, just give you an opportunity. So we'll just have maybe 2 or 3 questions which we can do in one round. So is there anybody who would like to make any input, make a comment this side of the room? Anybody on this side? Just put up your hand, just raise your hand. Any question or comment? Or in the far end, just raise your hand and there's a microphone that will come to you. Yes, on this side, there's a hand over here.
Hello, my name is Mary Ann. Madam Katindi, you spoke about the perfect world. You painted that scenario where, like, if 15 million young people voted for something or went out for something, that is quite hopeful, but is it really ever going to happen? Like, is that perfect world a scenario that we can hope for? Because I think that's the idea of hope, right? Something that we can believe and try to work towards. But I don't know whether that is ever going to happen, so I'm afraid of that. And so my question now becomes, now what? Because it's not going to happen, what do we do now? Yeah? Because in my mind, it's just me and that one voice. Then what do I do with that? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. That question is directed to Katindi. I want to collect a few more questions because this will be just one round and then we can wrap up. So anybody else, please put your hand up and the microphone will come to you. Please raise your hand. Masha is coming there. I can see a hand at the far end.
Hi, my name is Judy Oyo from Kiriri Women's University. So my question is, we find that the number of youths is higher, but when it comes to during voting, then the number of youths is not quite high. but the ones who normally vote are the elderly people. So what is required for the youths to get the urge to go out and vote for the right leaders?
Thank you, Judy. But that's a question I'd like one of the young people here to answer. I don't think the panel here qualifies because they're over 35. They're the wrong end of the equation. So I'd like a young person here who has taken a vote and has got a voting card to actually answer that question. And you know yourself, because honestly, I don't think the people on the podium can answer that. But anyway, thank you, Judy, for the comment. Anybody else with a question? Maybe we'll take a final question and then. Yes, there's a hand over here at the far, Mashav. Oh, it's okay, you can start there. Is there a hand there? Yes. Yeah, it's okay, start there, then you'll come this side.
Thank you very much. My name is Bill Ulo, an alumni of Aylf. To try and attempt answering Judy's question, I think, by the way, I'm one of the contestants in the next general election. So what I'm trying, I think there is, ignorance is a bliss, and I agree, because most of us are trying to be much of ignorance, because I think this is the time that we've got to dictate the direction that our nation has to take. So if that is the question, then that is the responsibility that is bestowed upon the shoulders of the 70% youth that are in this country. So therefore, I will urge that in any discussions that we make with our friends outside this point, it is upon us now to try and encourage and urge each and every person to rise up, because if it is not us, then the nation is going to take a wrong direction. We will continue complaining, but then what matters is what do we do to ensure that at the end of the day, our complaints are voiced through the ballot, and that we get the best leaders who will dictate and bring us the best as a nation. Because for us, it is all about determining the sustainable, safe, and most prosperous society for our kids and grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that input. There was a question, a hand, I think, at the back here. Two more hands. I think we'll just take these two, and then we can come wrap it up. So there are two hands, one on the far table and one over here.
Thank you very much. My name is Mwangi Margaret. I'm from the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. I wanted to critique the issue of saying that there are a lot of opportunities for the youth. I think it's time we get out of hypocritical cocoons and start thinking about how do we empower our youths to become self-reliant, because I don't think there are those opportunities that you're talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Makofi ni ya nini sasa? What does that mean? Okay, there's another question here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lucy Mwaura, and my question is not about voting per se. My question is about Aylf. Now, this is the first time I'm hearing about this organization. I teach in high school, and it's a place where every day we encounter young people who appear to be lost, I might say. And from my knowledge about the family of friends of AYLF, I've seen it's like for students who are in high school, in campus. And I was asking myself, what could AYLF do to the young people in high school? Because if we don't save this young generation, I don't think there'll be a generation to save. I don't think they reach a point to go to campus and then encounter the family of friends. So do you have a mentorship program for high school students? Because I really feel that we have to start somewhere, not up there, but down here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Oh, okay, we need to wrap it up. There's someone who's putting up a hand and standing. So let's just have that as a final comment. She seems to be very passionate, and I like passion. That's good. My sister, I feel you. So please ask the question.
Yes, my apologies, eh?
No, it's okay. Don't apologize for your
my
background.
apologies, because I'm going to critique that, yeah?
Okay.
I think sometimes we imagine opportunity is job advertisement, internship advertisement. That isn't what opportunity is. Opportunity is everywhere. If you can speak up here and someone sees something special in you, someone can sponsor you for something, that's opportunity. You could speak up your idea and someone says, I like that idea. Let me help you invest. That's opportunity. Opportunities are in conversations. Opportunities are in service. Opportunities come when you involve your mind, energy, and effort in whatever is happening. Let me give an example. In my first year class, the lecturer came and said, introduce yourselves. And then she introduced herself and said, my name is Rahab and I'm born again. So while we're introducing ourselves, she was asking us, I did law, so why did you take law? And then there are those people who are answering, my name is Atatuski. So when it came to me, I said, my name is Marianne Jogo, and oh, I'm also born again. Do you know what happened? She found me doing a debate, and she told me there's a Christian group that is looking for students who are serious in law, and they want to sponsor them. So I'll sponsor you to go for the conference. And when I went to the conference, I met the former Chief Justice, David Maraga. The opportunity came from me introducing myself loudly. Just speaking up loudly. And also saying, I'm born again with confidence. Opportunity is everywhere. It's not advertisement, it's not job. So opportunity, seize everything that you have. Talking to your family members, seize everything that you have. That's where opportunity is. And that's where you will get it.
Thank you. This is what I like about young people who are passionate. Do you feel that passion and the energy? In fact, you've actually made the job of the panel quite easy, because I think almost all the questions have been answered, and answered by yourselves. There's the young gentleman who answered.
Yes.
There's the sister who answered. Is there another answer?
I have a microphone.
Are you answering or asking?
Mine is not a question as such.
Yes.
But let me just state it. To Dr. Kalua, I think I've been your staunch follower in your social media. I like your articles. I read your articles. I comment on your articles. Just because I have been told about you by even my dad. I come from your home area. Yeah, so.
Texas City.
So, before proceeding, my name is Mutuku Kennedy from the University of Nairobi. So, are
you from Texas or Mexico?
Kitui.
Oh, Texas.
Yes. Yeah. And so now, mine is a comment. I've been following you, and I'm a very diverse man. I can participate in everything, in business, in environment, in accounting. In accounting, I'm a public speaker. In literature, in philosophy, I can do everything. So, if you employ me, I am very, very teachable. I'm very, very teachable. My mind is very open to new ideas, to new activities from all ends, to internships, volunteers, politics, social, economic
okay,
life.
Thank you, thank you, Makofi. Thank you very
open
much.
For every opportunity.
You have it.
Thank
you. Let's get in touch. Thank you. Well, his mind is open to new ideas. And he reads Dr. Kalua's articles. So keep reading them, especially the one for tomorrow. You were told tomorrow is a must read. But ladies and gentlemen, I think I'd like to bring this to a wrap. Now, there was actually a question for Katindi, which I think was a very specific question. And then I'll just ask the other two panelists to make just a 60-second wrap-up. I think the other questions that were asked have really been responded to. But there was one question that I want to respond to myself, Lucy, about the high school work and whether AYLF is going to do any work at high school. AYLF, as you all know, specializes in universities. In Kenya, you'll find it's a slice of a slice that get into university. If you think of the cohort you started standard 1 with, class 1, think of several years back, it's only about 5 or 6 of those who get into university. AYLF leads, does mentorship for the leaders of those 6. So it's the leaders of the 6%. So already it's the cream of the cream. That is really where we focus. So really, these aren't leaders of tomorrow. These are leaders of today. Anybody in an AYLF program in any of our campuses is already a leader because they've been through the hoops and they have proved themselves through the system. So that's where we focus, because we can't do all things to all men. But to your point, we ourselves have realized the need and have felt that there is need to also focus amongst the leaders in the high schools. And we're discussing, in fact, with Gabriel some program that we want to start with prefects. And we're, in fact, writing a proposal which was helping to address this problem you're finding in schools today, high schools burning and so on. And we felt there's a real leadership crisis, and it will just require a bit of tweaking of the AYLF programs and the SLDP programs and adapt it for the young students. And it is you, alums, and you who are members of our university groups who are going to be the faculty and the teachers in these high school programs. So we hope that this will come to fruition, but this is definitely something in the pipeline, and it's one of the programs that we want to launch quite quickly. So let me hand over to Katindi for her response, and then we'll just have about 1 minute each from the other panelists, and then we can wrap up.
I must also add that I am from Texas. So hi, Ham. Going to be answering Miriam's question about is it possible to have a perfect world, and what do I do with that? I think my caution to young people is to understand that this social media syndrome has to stop, because we do things, we think that opportunity comes or you're successful when you have a multitude of people clapping for you. But the truth about successes is that there are a lot of things happen in obscurity. In 2010, I did a youth fact book, and it was the first one in Kenya where we got everything about young people, trends, you know, and data in one book where you could just sit and say, this is the situation of young people. And I remember one of my colleagues putting me on the spot and asking me, we are not a youth organization, why is it that we are doing this? And I said, are we a research organization? Yes. Do we do policy analysis? Yes. Is this a policy question? Yes. And because of that, he said, okay, I will only give you sort of like the leeway to do it if you fundraise for it. And you know, the point is that when the funding came, of course, I did the work, but you will not believe how that book has created so many opportunities. It was done in obscurity with a lot of hardship and a lot of criticism, but it has opened, including the opportunity in this place. And what am I saying? That if you have an idea, you don't need 10 million people to believe in the idea. If each one of us has an idea and we believe in it and are working in it, one day, with the opportunity of time, it will grow. And with 10 million people doing one small thing, it will grow into one big thing that can help the society. And so you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe in the cause, you also have to dare to do. And also you have to put in the work, you have to think long term. And obviously, success then means that you're doing small things in a great way. And that's the only way we can achieve these things. So if you are in your corner, you say, if everybody thought the way you're saying, that we don't have a perfect world, we can't have everybody voting, that means nobody will vote. But if you wake up and say, I will do the right thing, and somebody else says, I will do the right thing, there will be that collective effort by all of us to do the right thing. And that's how we create great societies. And so we cannot sit back and say, what is the point of doing it by myself? If you believe in it, somebody else will believe in it and invest in it. And before long, you will have a great opportunity and a great sort of like input. And you'll make a difference wherever you are.
Thank you, Katindi. Dr. Kalwa, your closing comments, just briefly, please.
The reason why I changed my name to Green is because green has 3 meanings. First one is about treating people kindly. This is about good ethics, training on life skills, is about values. Second, green is working towards good health, peace within communities, and creating sustainable livelihoods. And the third green is the passionate environmental conservation. The reason why I say this is to encourage every member of AYLF and those who are here to have a life philosophy. You must be able to be driven by something every single day. And the secret to this is first, loving yourself. That you love yourself so much and do so much that is good for yourself, so that anyone else that you meet in life, you can be able to give what you expect of them. There is no shortcut about that. The next thing is to ask yourself why. The question why, those three words, must always be somewhere in your mind. Why are you doing what you are doing? Why are you here today? Why will you not do this and that? Every moment before you take a decision, ask yourself, why? Why do I keep so and so as a friend? Finally, I welcome you to be part of the GTAP. Please visit the gtap.org, gtap.org. This is your institution. I've done it for you. There is no way that you can miss in that from wherever you are. This is an institution that has got no conflict with any other existing institution. If you can be a member of a church, a member of a chama, a member of the social group, and nobody cares, why would they care when you are a member of a specific party? It is what you put in your mind that can be able to make the difference. Ask yourself in the current situation, and please do not consume everything that is being given to you to consume. The government had an opportunity to enroll us in the so-called Huduma Center. Remember the oomph, the energy that we were all made to be part of the Huduma Center. The government has pushed us to do everything, including what is right in the vaccination, and even giving us conditions that we must be able to follow. Just go and sit somewhere just by yourself and ask, how come this is not the same energy that we are being given to join political parties or to register as members of the voting roll? And you will realize that an answer is very simple. The calculations are known. There is no fear of the unknown, because you are the unknown who can make the difference that this country needs for a future that is so bright. They are doing nothing wrong. Neither are they doing something very right, because everything is right. But ask yourself those silent questions that you must ask yourself, because I am talking to leaders. I'm not talking to everybody. Take the necessary action. The time is now. I love you, and you're the best.
Thank you very much. Mogo.
Very, very robust engagement. What was the word that was used? Critique. Serious critiques and challenges. And I just want to say that the world and life is not simple. And it never has been. If you read your Bible or the Quran, or if you read ancient history and antiquity, Greek mythology, you'll find that life and the world has never been simple. But we grow up simplifying the lessons of life for young kids, because that's the only way they can grow. And you also don't want to spook them. And as you grow older, and this is where you are now, you've come of age now, you're people who are taking your leadership positions in life, you must deal with life as complex as it is. This is why it's been said for many generations that there are few who make things happen. Scores who watch them happening, and millions who have no clue what's happening. And that is unlikely to ever change. The fact that you're sitting here today, and I will keep repeating it, means that you have been granted the opportunity, whether by God or by AYLF or by Dr. Kalua and his Green Party, but whether you acknowledge it or not, you have been accorded that opportunity that is not available to millions of your age mates, to be among the few who make things happen. There are very many people outside this room who can never be amongst the few who make things happen. They do not have that opportunity, either because they never got the kind of education that you have gotten. They didn't come from the kind of families that you come from. They were not mentored in the way you have been. They don't have the early experiences of professional life that you have acquired. You're wealthy in terms of opportunity, whether you see it or not, whether you're tamarking. We used to call it tamarking in my day and age. I don't know what they call it today. Or in between jobs, as they say. And I will urge you to, first of all, acknowledge that even in the toughest of times, because, by the way, we all go through them. You'll be very surprised. You'll be very surprised that we all go through tough times. So that's number one. Secondly, you must also read history in context. Dr. Kalua spoke about Jomo Kenyatta and the people he appointed in the 60s and 70s, and it is very true. They were very young people. They had that opportunity in the 60s and 70s, which wasn't available to some of us or you. The fact of the matter is that in 1960, there was no 50-year-old who could write a party manifesto in Kenya. So they had to get a 29-year-old lecturer from Makerere by the name of Mwai Kibaki. There was no one above that age who could write a party manifesto. Today, you have 90-year-olds who can write party manifestos. Times have changed. Tom Mboya, who gave him the leadership of the labor movement in this country? At the age of 28, he was in American talk shows, TV talk shows in Washington, D.C., talking about colonialism in Kenya as a 28-year-old. The fact of the matter is today, it is very difficult to be a Tom Mboya. Because in 1958, when he was 28, there were few educated people. There are few people who had even heard of a labor movement or been labor leaders. Today, you have people in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 60s, in their 70s, who have experience as labor leaders. So the times, we cannot wish for the 60s and 70s. We have to deal with the times we have today. That's what has been presented to you. But while the context may have been more favorable for younger people then, who are the earliest to be educated in our country, you also have other opportunities today that they didn't have. The technology you have today allows you to challenge the most senior leaders of this country in real time. They didn't have that opportunity. So I think it's important that we contextualize life as leaders. Everything we've been taught in school by our teachers and our parents is important, but we have the responsibility. You have the responsibility to now apply it to your life. You must be men and women of substance, which is now my last point. It is not enough to want a job. It is not enough to want to vie for an office, to be an MCA, to be an MP. Why do you want to be a political leader? The gentleman who's running for office next year, I encourage you to do, as Dr. Kalua is encouraging. But why? What is the substance behind your running for office? Too often I come across young people who say, I'm running for office, as if that is an end in and of itself. And that, why they don't succeed, because you must have a raison d'etre. Dr. Kalua talked about principles, of, having of some principles in life. And those principles that you have in life, not only must you have them and develop them and live them, you must articulate them, and they must fashion everything you do. The most successful people in political leadership, whether it is in Kenya or globally, people can trace their beliefs from their early 20s to their 80s. And that's where they succeed. When I was a young kid in primary school, Mwai Kibaki was Mr. Economics as finance minister, and he remained that to the very end of his career. People were clear what he stood for. It's important that you have those principles and you have intellectual honesty and integrity in yourself, and you articulate why it is you want to do what you're vying for. If you do that, I think you become attractive to people. Because at the end of the day, it will not be handed to you on a silver platter. It will be something you receive or you get because you're providing value to somebody else. Those are the opportunities that we're talking about. So I wish you all the very best, and I want to conclude by thanking again the AYLF team, led by Gabriel. Gabriel, by the way, was an engineering student a long time ago when I was East African Cable's CEO. And he and someone came to me and he wanted an internship, and I said, come on, come and he did an internship at East African Cables. But within a couple of years, he made up his mind to change his life because he had a passion, and he took a huge risk, and he asked for support and he got it. But the support that he got, I can tell you, was only perhaps only 10% of the effort he has had to put in to get to where we are today, that all of us are sitting in this room, because of the decision he made, the work he has done. Don't overplay the support he has gotten. The effort that he has put in, and many of his colleagues, and I can see some of them over here, who joined him in that journey, have put in, and sacrifices they have made. We should not discount that in how we've ended up here. So I want to congratulate the AYLF team. Well done. And we shall continue to support you in the best way we can. Thank you.
Maybe before we finish,
yeah.
I just want to request Gabriel, if you can link me up with the gentleman from Texas and also the lady who spoke her heart. By the way, feel nothing about what you said, that there are no opportunities. There is only one way to get yourself sorted out in life, is by speaking out what your view is, and then you are heard, and then issues are dealt with. So I request that I get in touch with the lady through Gabriel, and then we will see what we can be able to do. Would it really be fair to leave this house before introducing my sweetheart? Susan is here. Thank you. She's right here. And of course, I have my son, David. David, if you can stand. Thank you. I have my other son, Albert, from Tanzania. And I have my colleagues in the name of Jane, and we also have the one in the Cape in the name of Lena. Please feel free to interact with them. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanakalua. That is mentorship in action. Just as we wrap up, I think it's been a great discussion. And one of the things that I am very passionate about is engaging with young people like yourselves. And I think that when we talk about opportunity, we need to realize that this is something that is in your hands. Remember what God told Moses when he had this big challenge. He asked Moses, what is in your hand? And he had a staff, and then he went and actually moved the entire nation out of slavery into the promised land. And the key to unlocking your opportunities is really in your hand. I'd just like to summarize, and if you can just summarize in 3 points. Dr. Kalua said that his article is in the newspaper. Tomorrow is a must read. I actually have been spending this past month with the young people in our church. So every Sunday I've been talking to them, and my final talk is actually tomorrow. And I'll just give you, because you can't read my article and you may not be there, I'll just tell you the 3 points that I'm going to mention to them. And tomorrow we'll be talking about the whole question about work and opportunity. And I'll be telling them 3 things. That if you want to succeed in life, pursue excellence, pursue ethics, pursue it with energy. Those are the 3 things you do. Pursue excellence. There's a verse in Proverbs 22:29 that says, have you seen a person who desires excellence? They shall serve before kings and not before ordinary people. So as young people, make excellence the autograph with which you sign all your work. Autograph your work with excellence. Number 2, pursue ethics. I do training also for boards, and I tell them that if you are a board member and you want to give guidance and leadership to your organization or CEO, a CEO is not just a chief executive officer today, it's a chief ethics officer. And nowadays, we don't just talk about return on equity, we talk about return on ethics. Ethics should also be your distinctive from all the other professionals. But then also pursue it with energy, which means passion, as you saw the passion today. Because I like alliteration, doing things in letters, excellence is a call to professionalism. Ethics is a call to principle, be principled. And energy is a call to passion. That is what leads to progress and prosperity. So let's not just give excuses. Be professional, be principled, be passionate, and the money will follow the success and the passion. So let's not give excuses. The potential, the opportunity is in your hands. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to the panelists. Before you leave, I think there's something that the young people from Aylf have prepared for you, and they want to give it to you by way of appreciation. Gabriel, I'll leave you to do the honors. They've sung your praises, so kazi kwako. Do the necessary. You can come up here and, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for this. This was a good conversation, was it? And I think there's a lot more that can be done on a follow-up to this. Do you agree with me? Yes, and we need to create more opportunities for this. I think from next year we'll be doing monthly live stream sessions where this conversation should now be able to reach more even people who are not in this room. And we'll be reaching out to some of you to be part of those conversations, either as audience or as panelists in those conversations.
But today was being streamed as well, wasn't it?
Yes, today's was being streamed as well.
And YouTube, yeah.
So here we have some things just to you guys to remember us with. And so I'll start with Dr. Kalua, if you do not mind, sir.
Let's appreciate Dr.
Thank
Kalua.
You so
Let's appreciate him. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mugo. I met Mr. Mugo in 2006 when I was still just wondering about campus, and he's been a very good friend of mine all these years. Thank you for your support always, and always for showing up. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I think he shows up for almost everything Aylf reaches out to him. And I remember one thing he once told me, Gabriel, so long as you stay consistent, I'll always come. That's what he said. And Duncan, we were together when he said that. And we were with Millicent Orondo, who is no longer with us, is in the US. And Knight was also in that space when you said that. And thank you for honoring that. We respect that so much. Thank you, sir. We also have something for you.
Santi, shukran. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the lady goes with the biggest. The lady gets the biggest. The way this world is shaped, sometimes you wonder whether, is it equality, is it equity, what is going on? But the lady has the biggest, and thank you so much. And the reason why we give her the biggest, the first time we're interacting with her, and we're telling you we are good people. That's why we're giving you this, so that you can keep coming more and keep praying for us more. And when we call on you to mentor our young girls, I could be available. We need female mentors. We need them a lot.
I'm making a commitment. I train across Africa on foresight, and I'm offering a free course to your students every cohort.
Thank you very much.
That is to Meskia, and it's been recorded. So there'll be evidence, and we'll come saying, Lisema. So, thank you so much. We really honor you.
Before you leave, let's just do a photo up here.
Oh, no. Okay. Thanks, Joshua. Well, I'll invite the MCs because now we need to close this. And then there's dancing. There's dancing. This thing is here. This thing is here for dancing. So don't go home before you dance.
Normally, after you have a panel and a speaking session, the MC comes to, to reiterate the main points, to add what they think they have from their own experience. But, this was just a conclusive conversation. It was wholesome. And we thank you, our panelists. We have taken the mantle. We are going to go and search ourselves in our small groups and actually ask ourselves these hard questions. So now, we are now going to, as we get towards the end, we had said we would get to pick the best dressed male, the best dressed female. And so, in your tables, please discuss among yourselves and pick one lady and one gent to represent your table. Yes.
The most African.
Yes, so the parameters. 1, their dress code must be according to the theme, and 2, they must look elegant.
And if you feel you can do it better, show up.
Yes, you can start. Yes. So, meanwhile, I would like to also acknowledge the presence of 3 key people who have been with us tonight. One has traveled. Some of us have come from Mombasa Road, Ngong Road, hapa tu, hata kama ni Rongai, hapa ni hapa tu. Some people like Kevin have come all the way from Kilifi, hapa ni hapo tu. There is someone who has crossed a border. We have someone who has crossed Lake Victoria to join us. Pfizer, if you could just stand up and wave. We love you. That's Pfizer from Aylf, Uganda. We also have with us someone special, Pastor Judy from Nairobi. Yes, Nairobi Chapel, Lavington. I almost said Nairobi Baptist. Nairobi Chapel, Lavington. If you could just stand and wave at us. Yes, we know you don't know us, but you don't know all of us, but we know you and we love you from afar. We also have with us a team that has, wameshikilia. We have DJ. I've never had the opportunity to introduce a DJ, much less a female DJ. DJ Celine! Thank you. DJ Celine and team, who will be with us even as we finish. And now, yes, katika vizuri. So we have decided? Yes, the mamas are even zimeisha. So, mimi sina table. You're only picked if you have a table. Me, I'm talking to you, that's sina table. I can see Gabriel is on that table. He's eligible to be picked. The people who don't have a table can also agree amongst themselves. So, yes, we are going to... Kimel, I'll kindly ask you to join me here. And then we are going to have music from the DJ, because we are going to start with the best dressed male or female? Female.
Like always, obviously, females start the day. The best dressed females.
And you're going to come to the stage with music.
Dance your way up if you feel your best dressed.
Yes. So ladies, do they need to be up there or they can just, I think we have more space here. Yeah. You are going to dance as well. Sada, there is no room to refuse. You can just
Usiache kuwa umekaa chini and your best dressed lady. Take your chances. DJ. Yes. At this point, we want to know which lady he has shown the day.
Hatukatizi dance. We are going to dance. It's just a pause.
So we do, obviously, wanaume wako kwa nyumba. Wanaume.
So we're going just to have the table to support their,
you need to support the person you representing you here. Sawa. You need to support your person here, so we are going with applause. So whoever gets low applause, you go back to your seat. Those who are remaining here ni wenye wanashikiliwa vizuri. Sawa? So if I put the hand of a person, then you need to applaud them, and then you know who wins this thing. Sawa? Are we ready? Are we ready? Huyu? Aya bas. Huyu? Hey. Aya bas. Huyu? You know, I have never been to parliament. I'm planning to get to parliament next year. So, I don't know how to become a speaker, but I will try. Huyu? Yo inaonekana ni kidogo kiasi. Huyu? Ala. Nae huyu? Huyu? Hey. Kuna watu wamelipa bogi. Huyu? During the presentation, nimesikia kuna watu wanalipango wafanye mambo. Ndo hao. Naye huyu? Aha. Huyu? Huyu? Wewe umetupwa na kura bana. Huyu? Huyu?
Yay!
Naye huyo.
Mimi nashangilia tu.
Alafu akataka. Huyu. Aha, huyu. Sijui kama mnawaona wote. Huyu. Naye huyu wa mwisho.
Okay. So, the truth of the matter is that you did not. What is that thing that makes a sound? Huh? Yeah, that one. You heard what she said? We do not have it. So, what you're going to do is you're going to have the ladies meet and choose amongst themselves. Yes, please. You all look amazing. Please just go on that corner and help us. Help us, please. Because this is going to be a hard decision.
Aya. So the ladies who are in the front.
Yes.
Enda pale mtuletee mtu mmoja.
Please.
I
Yes?
know. Hey, guys.
Yes, please.
Ladies, unaweza kujichuja ukiona kama ufiki bei. It is not too bad, right? Aya basi.
Just a minute.
So, wanaume, it's your turn. If you feel you're the best dressed man, fika mbele. Wanaume, DJ.
Sexual corruption, cause I'll kill anyone for your time. Yeah. Even though I make real dough, you're the reason there'll be more, yeah. Yeah. Even though I got much more, I don't mind if you chuck my money. Chuck my money. Chuck my money.
Wanaume, jitokeze if you feel you're best dressed. Faster. Mwanaume ni effort. Tokelezea bana, tokelezea.
Musa, I think you should be there. You should be there.
I should be there. Dancing.
Contesting.
Or contesting.
If you see this baby, then I'm saying she must chop my money. Chop my money. Chop my money. Cause I don't care. Chop my money. Chop my money. Chop my money.
Aya basi. DJ. So inaonekana wanaume wengine hataki kujitokeza.
No.
So hii ndio bogi.
I had your number.
Sijui kama kuna wenye mnaona mnapendelea kuliko wengine.
I'm sorry.
Ladies in the house.
Hapa ndo naisave because
Mnapima huyu vipi? Hatusikizani. Huyu ni aje? Na huyu? Huyo msee amewapea nini? Na huyu? Na huyu? 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 Na huyu? Bas. Kiswahili ni mkae kando mtuletee mtu mmoja. Hebu kaeni hapo.
the ladies over there ni kama wameanzisha chama na ni mchango inaendelea. Let me check on them.
Kuna hao wengine sijui kama tunataka hiyo list nyingine ya others. Yenyu. If you are a dancer, this is the floor. Kila mtu dancer amefika kwa nini? DJ. Yes. Hii ndio time yako. Anybody you can dance. You're missing out if you're not dancing. Karuoro, watu wanasema Karuoro. Robinson. Omar Maulid. Watu wanasema tunajua kudance, uapie kwa floor.
Okay, DJ. Oppose. We ask that you clear the stage for the best dressed ladies and men. I see a decision has been made by the ladies.
The decision has been made.
Yeah?
Yes.
You want to announce the decision? Okay, you'll be the lady spokesperson.
Okay.
You can stand there.
Hey, Wase, the decision has been made on the best dressed. Where is Monica Waithera? Monica, we need to speak about this gift for these people. Yes, bring the gifts. Wanaume, who is representing the guys
Meanwhile, they
committee?
can be announced and they dance.
Mokirai. So, wametuma baka spokesperson aseme ni nani amewin. Kutambulisha mbogi. So, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, Sawa, the spokesperson for the ladies.
Hi,
Please,
guys.
This is the IBC. What did you decide in a free, fair manner?
Comrades power!
Power!
Comrades power! Comrades Riyadh! Warembo mwa! Wanaume oi! Yeah. Now, with the ladies, we found our winner here. It is not me, it is her. So I am the spokesperson. My name is Judith Oyo, the president in Kiriri Women's University, the only women's in Africa. Yeah.
But we don't say. We don't thank you.
Madam President, you gonna give this present. Now that you are Madam President and umeleta committee, the ladies committee. Unajua wanaume ukipelekwa kwa ladies committee na kuanga either you are thrown out or you stay. So we have a gift here for the lady who is best dressed today. It's an African setup. Those who come from Rift Valley, they understand better. I know those who come from where I come from. It is hard to analyze it. We don't have enough cows. So men from Rift Valley, you need to bring cows to our place. So you can now want ham. Where is the photographer? He is there. By the way, to just note, Saad Hassan has won this, I think, for the longest time. Na team MMU, you should be shouting better. Bas. Bas.
Habari zenu.
Mzuri sana.
Habari zenu.
Mzuri.
My name is Mokirai Ken. Apparently.
Hello, just a minute, Ken. Please, we request for silence. Just a minute. We're not done yet. We are just about to be done, and then we dance. So let's give him a chance. Yeah.
So apparently, amenishinda.
Oh.
Aliiba manifesto, don't you see? But congrats. I won this is in 2018. Mumenishinda leo. I will be back again. I will be back.
2022. Congratulations for the award.
So you know when a man is walking around this town, umeona juzi pale, yes? Tulia. I will recognize you. Mnajua wanaume wakitembea hii town, they require some safety. So we thought this is a very good gift. Don't you think the same? Wanaume, don't you think? Wanaume wa hii room bana. Hata sauti hakuna. And the guy comes from MMU too. Inaonekana pale Rongai kuna kitu inafanyika huko.
Yes, apewe. Woo! Woo! Wakuji hapa picha. The photo I think would look better.
We all need love. We all need affection. And the way that you're looking at me, I can feel a connection.
Hey. A winning dance.
Kinywaji kwa mkono na kibeti kwa bega. Juicy quiz mademo napenda do na machali pia tunazo drama. Ya dunia ni mengi sana. No commitment mama. So nipe nafasi. Nikupe mapenzi yangu ya kilia. Hallelujah. Nakupenda tena nina imani sana. Kushanitega